Say, Keefe got a bail. He's supposed to be home.
That's up to law
He's supposed to be
enforcement.
home in the next month. I've been thinking about going to Belly Mouth.
You gonna bail out Keefe?
I've been considering going to Bellymouth you if you decide to bail out KD. Let's say KD received bail and is expected to return home within the next month. Indeed, it's just $75,000. Yes, Keith, this is a scenario where some nuance will definitely be required. The bail crisis has taken an unexpected turn. You won't believe the crazy scheme the FBI have unearthed, which shows how infamous music mogul Wack 100 allegedly planned a whole escape plot to get Keith out of the country by leveraging his strong gang ties. Wack allegedly had plans to fabricate documents and get Keith into Mexico, but all fell apart when the judge revoked the bail, declaring Keith to be a flight risk. Take a chance and explore the shocking details of Wack's desperate plans and the volatile courts. The family of Tupac Shakur has been waiting for justice for 27 years before looking into the leaked escape plot that has everyone talking, according to revelations that have everyone talking. It's critical to comprehend Dwayne Keefe Davis's background and the reasons behind his frequent reemergence in the Shakur assassination probe. For many years, Kathy D., a self-described mobster, was a prominent player in the world of organized crime. Last year, he was detained outside his Henderson home, which was a major development in the convoluted and lengthy history of the Shakur assassination case. I'm saying that's just the law. You pull a gun, you use it. Keefe was not your typical gang member. As a shot caller for the Southside Compton Crips, he held a position of authority and was responsible for planning a number of criminal acts, such as the drive-by shooting that killed Shakur as they were traveling in a white Cadillac. After years of bragging about his involvement in Shakur's assassination, Mr. Davis took the gun he had obtained and gave it to the passengers in the back seat of the car. These admissions, which were recorded in interviews for his memoir, Compton Street Legend, gave the police enough rope to eventually hang him, figuratively speaking. Interestingly enough, his decision to self-incriminate proved to be his undoing. Carl Arnold, his defense lawyer, has vehemently maintained that the CFID detail is fiction meant to garner publicity and sell books. He is telling different versions. Arnold made a point of drawing attention to Davis's inconsistent accounts. Despite these objections, the prosecution, led by District Attorney Steve Wolfson of Clark County, feels that there is sufficient evidence to convict. The one thing that prosecutor Bayu Powell consistently highlighted was Mr. Davis's admission that he was the mastermind of the assassination. He shot 2 bucks and kept the other for the street's cod. The tension in the courtroom was palpable as the prosecution laid out the charges against Broke, whose courtroom appearances have been dramatic. During a status update, he pleaded not guilty to the charges, setting the stage for a high-profile trial. Sir, are you familiar with the one charge that you're facing? Yes, ma'am. Do you understand that charge? Yes, ma'am. How do you believe that charge to be guilty or not guilty? The story of Davis planning the murder in retaliation for Obie and Shakur fighting in a casino defeated Shakur and Key's Orlando infant nephew Lane Anderson. Orlando Anderson, Key's nephew, is the person that fought with Tupac Shakur the night before Tupac was shot. The deadly shooting on the Las Vegas Strip was the result of a feud between gangs and personal grudges. As the trial goes on, the stakes are extremely high since Keefe faces harsh punishments if found guilty, maybe spending the rest of his life in prison. The easiest way to describe the prosecution's imposition of a sentencing enhancement for G's activity inside bars is that it might add decades to his sentence. The person who called the shots for this gang of people who committed this atrocity was Dwayne Davis. The trial has also refocused attention on the evening of September 7, 1996, the night that Shakur was shot and killed. Shaker and the Notorious Big's rivalry had grown into a full-fledged East Coast-West Coast war, which resulted in the horrific events that happened on the Las Vegas Strip when Shaker was riding in the passenger seat of a Suge Knight BMW. Keefe has acknowledged being in that white Cadillac and supplying the gun that killed Shaker. Shaker was ambushed by gunfire from the Cadillac. Metro Police displayed this diagram on Friday, featuring Deandra Smith in the backseat and Orlando Anderson Davis's nephew. This case, with all of its twists and turns, never ceases to fascinate. The imagination of the people Keefe's trial will continue because of the courtroom drama, Hollywood connections, and the shocking revelations of gangster techniques. Front page news while we wait for further information, there's no denying that Shaker's fight for justice is far from the trial for Keefe's involvement in Shaker's assassination is still ongoing, and it is scheduled to resume later this year. Expect more shocking revelations and dramatic moments that will keep everyone on the edge of their seats. It's a cold case that has been festering for 27 years. A new level of mystery surrounding the infamous music mogul Wack 100 has surfaced. The most recent courtroom drama centered on Keefe attempt to post bail using wax, an endeavor that was allegedly motivated by unlawful activity and hidden agendas. Thus raises the question of why Wack 100 would visit these links in order to support KD. Interestingly, Wack 100 seems to have a complex purpose for his acts given his reputation in the hip-hop community and his past of making provocative remarks. Using Wack's presence questions Judge Clyde Kearney expressed skepticism toward his attempt to post $112,500 toward Keeve's $750,000 bail, questioning the authenticity of the funds and the potential for commercial exploitation of Keefe story. While he's no different from any other defendant, we just sensed that this day was approaching. However, an insider revealed that Wack's plan involved a much more complex scheme than just securing bail. The Notorious Big, Diddy, and other prominent people would be the subject of a series about Davis's life that Wack mentioned during a jail chat with Keefe that the court played. Could it be that Wack was laying the groundwork for a successful media enterprise rather than just lending a hand to a friend? The drama took an unexpected turn when reports emerged that a person close to Wack had informed federal authorities about a possible escape plan. If bail was granted, Wack was thought to have hatched a scheme to use his gang connections to smuggle Keefe out of the country. The plan reportedly involved forging documents and using a network of safe houses to transport Keefe to Mexico. This revelation caused the court to reverse the bail decision entirely, considering Keefe to be an even greater flight risk. It has taken many hours to come to this conclusion. After decades of hard work by the men and women of our homicide unit, the feds are now looking into these accusations in an effort to ascertain the validity of the escape plot. Should these suspicions come to pass, Wack 100 might be facing serious legal repercussions and could even end up behind bars alongside Keefe. This brings up another hypothetical. Given the circumstances, how might a Wack 100 planned escape look? Wack criminal past and gang affiliations. The escape might have been well planned. Wack, who once took pride in his ability to oversee and influence younger gang members, would have had the means and personnel to carry out such a scheme. After all, his entire record was one of violence. In theory, the operation may have involved sophisticated ways to elude law enforcement, as well as coordinated attempts involving several gang members' safe houses dispersed around the Southwest. Transporting KD to a distant area in Mexico, far from U.S. officials, would have